there was part of me watching this film, and this is the adult eye looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they could afford one black woman for this film. So she has to be the councilwoman who's closing down the rec center.
Mm-hmm.
She has to be the sister of one of the boys.
Right.
And she has to be the love interest.
That's right.
in the
That's
film.
right.
It's like, there are other black actresses outside.
You got Kim Elise, you just use Kim Elise for all of it.
Well, can't Kim do that?
At the end, where he said, well, who's going to run the anchor? I expected her to rip her dress off and say, I'm going to swim the anchor.
I wouldn't have been surprised.
YUNKJunk!
Hey, welcome to the Micheaux Mission, 2 Men, 1 podcast, every black film ever made. My name is Len, a.k.a. the Bat Tribble. And as always, I'm joined by my partner.
Hey, this is Vincent Williams.
We're back. Wow. It always feels like we've been going for 2 weeks. It's only been a week.
I know.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
But
some codependency issues or
baby.
Probably talk to somebody about that.
But we're back, Missionaries, with a brand new show for you tonight, as we have a very special guest with us from the City Cast Philly podcast. Put your hands together for Trenae Nuri. Welcome, Trenae.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, this is definitely cool. Definitely cool. Trenae has brought with her a Philly film.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
From 2007 with Terrence Howard, Bernie Mac, and Kimberly Elise. Pride will be the film that we will be reviewing tonight here on the Micheaux Mission, that is streaming, yes, to you live from YUNKJunk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace, to Instagram, to Facebook, and as well to YouTube, where all of the missionaries, I see you right there in the chat. Hello, missionaries.
Good evening, one and all.
Oh, my goodness. Trenae, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
This is so dope.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, thank you. We've never been called dope before. That's lovely. That is lovely. And we're going to definitely talk with you about the City Cast Philly, find out all about the podcast. But we have to start the show off on a bit of a heavy note, as the Micheaux Mission wants to continue sending our condolences to friend of the show, Tony Todd. Who passed away recently at the age of 69 after fighting a illness for a little bit. Tony Todd, who never officially appeared on the Micheaux Mission, but had one very memorable recorded phone call.
Yes, we did.
With Vincent and I.
Yes, we did.
Which we actually just put in the feed. Yeah. You can look for that in the feed, ladies and gentlemen. Vincent, what do you have to say about the Candyman?
Look, iconic. Iconic. I mean, obviously you start with Candyman, and I think every accolade that he got for Candyman is well-deserved. In a lot of ways, it's similar to the comments that we make about something like Blackula.
Yeah.
Where I have to say, when you look at Candyman and this cultural figure with his peers, your Jasons,
Freddy Krueger,
your Mike Myers. I always got the sense that Candyman wasn't necessarily set up to ascend to that level.
No, not at all.
But Tony Todd's performance and everything that he brought to it, it could not be denied. And, as somebody who, unlike those other characters I named, really has Candyman. He was in a couple of sequels that were damn near straight to video. And then he has basically a cameo in the reimagined Candyman.
Caustic. Yeah.
When you consider it's not a lot of Candyman for him to have gotten the stature that he did, is again a testament to Tony Todd. And then outside of Candyman, I know you and I are big Star Trek fans.
Of course.
And he, played the character Worf's Klingon brother. Mm-hmm. And, the son of Mog.
Son of Mog.
And also, once again, a role that is not necessarily one you would think of, elevates it.
Yeah. Yeah. So much so that they kept bringing him back.
And
that's on Star Trek Next Generation.
And that's on Star Trek Next Generation. But
he's such a talented performer.
That's right.
They said, we have to keep you in the Star Trek universe.
Yeah.
And then he returns for Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
In arguably the best episode of the entire series.
Yes.
Where he plays Captain Sisko's son, Jake.
Yes, grown up. Yeah.
So
and a fascinating, just a heartfelt episode. Like you said, it's considered one of the best.
Yeah,
one of the best episodes of Star Trek.
Oh yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even touch on the times that he's shown up here on the mission, like maybe not as a guest, but he was in Lean On Me.
He's in Lean On Me. The enemy is at the gate.
Love the energy.
I mean, he was a bad man. And as I shared in our bonus episode that I was fortunate enough to have met Tony Todd, at a stage reading of a play, and I still remember it because me and him were playing in this play. It was called Roost, and it takes place in a bar. The idea was kind of like a Cheers type of setting, and me and him were kind of like the old like the Cliff and Norm in this bar, but we were supposed to be like older. And it was a stage reading, but we both happened to, I didn't know him, both had Kango hats on.
Okay.
Like and I had my Kango, I was sitting there, I was like trying to be in character, this will get me in character a little bit. And here comes Tony Todd with, Candyman with a Kango. I'm like, what's happening? What's happening? And he sits across from me, and everybody's like, oh my God, Tony Todd. Like he's the name. Everybody's like, ugh. And we're doing the reading and we're vibing and we're bouncing off one another. And it gets to the halfway point of the play. And then he gets up and he comes over and he sits next to me. He's like, man, we need to be sitting together when we do this. I'm like, okay. And then we're bouncing off one another and we take a break because for lunch, because then the audience is going to come. This was just rehearsal. And I'm figuring like, he's Tony. He's going to go on the phone and everything. I'm off on the side of my tuna fish sandwich. And he comes over. He's like, you got tuna? I'm like, yeah, I had tuna. He's like, come on, man, let's go get some lunch. I'm like, okay. And he was just cool, man. And we hit it off since then. Like, we would talk every once in a while, It just, I mean, I can't even say that he was a hero of mine, an actor I admired. But how they always say, you meet your heroes at your own peril. He was just so down to earth, just so cool. And then every time I reached out to him via text or on phone, I mean, it wasn't like, I'll be like, hey, Tony, how you doing? It's like, motherfucker, Tony. I told you to call me Todd. I'm like, all right, Todd, what's up? What's up, man? He's like, hey, shit, man, these motherfuckers. I was like, what? He would just go in, like, from the door. Oh, I'm going to miss that man.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss him. So.
But we have his work.
We do have his work, and his work, I'm sure, will show up here on the Micheaux Mission more than once. We haven't gone through all of the Candymans. We still got a couple more Candymans to go through.
We have not.
So, yeah. So, farewell.
Farewell.
All right. And hello, Trenae.
Hey.
CityCast Philly, podcast extraordinaire that tells. Well, give the audience the 30-second pitch on the CityCast Philly podcast.
Sure, CityCast Philly is a daily news podcast that keeps you connected to the city that we all love.
Okay. All right.
Did I do it in 30 seconds?
That was you got time to spare.
I think you have some seconds left.
Like, what you have for breakfast? Like,
I like to describe CityCast as like I'm a member of the Marvel universe. So this CityCast is actually a network across the country.
Yes.
So there's other CityCast cities like Denver, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Austin, Nashville, Las Vegas, Boise, Portland, Madison, Salt Lake City. And I feel like I'm missing someone else. But yeah, so...
is that like a test you got to be able to...
I'm sorry if I missed one of the cities, but we all pretty much do...
She ain't say Orlando.
We're not in Orlando. But pretty much we all do similar shows. And then every Friday you will get a Friday news roundup from each of our cities. And we all have newsletters. So it'll be a newsletter that says, hey, Philly, hey, Pittsburgh, hey, Chicago. Which is just a supplement to the podcast and also expands. We have neighborhood guides. We have event listings, so much in the Hey Philly newsletter.
That's cool.
Very nice.
That's dope. And people, if they want to subscribe to CityCast Philly, they can go to sillycastphilly.
Actually, it's philly.citycast.fm. We've got like a weird
Okay.
link.
All right.
All right.
And we're on major podcasting platforms.
Wherever you find podcasts,
Yes.
you can find CityCast Philly.
nice.
So I'm interested. You know, it's about Philly. So you know, Philly and the world at large has been hit with a meteorite last week. That is still, the shockwaves are still reverberating throughout the city. So I'm wondering, how has the mood been in CityCast Philly in light of the recent political news that's been happening?
Well, I would say Pennsylvania was hit hard. A lot of focus was on our state this past election season, and I was tired, okay?
I'm sure. I'm sure.
We had so many episodes talking with reporters and just trying to figure out these numbers, which way we were all going to go. Election night, walked around the city. I was in Rittenhouse. I was in West Philly. I was up in Roxborough. It was quiet. It was real quiet. I think we kind of all knew what was going to happen, like kind of early on election night.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I was at Rosie's Taco Bar in Rittenhouse that night, and as soon as they turned on MSNBC, I was like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a wrap.
Yeah. But, you know, at CityCast, we, you know, break down, like, what does this mean for Philadelphia? So our last episode on Friday News Roundup, we talked about what a Trump administration could mean for Philadelphians. You know, and this is just, you know, the beginnings. So, you know, we don't know how and who he's going to pick in his cabinet and all of that. But, you know, we will watch closely. We also were watching the Casey McCormick race. We're watching Auditor General, Attorney General races. So we really try to break it down. You know, we don't want to have conversations that are like so over your head. You're like, I have no idea. And why should I care? I think that's like the major thing, right?
How does this connect to
How does this affect my wallet?
That's
How
right.
is it going to affect my kids?
That's right.
How can I get, you know, in and around the city? So we have conversations about, you know, what's happening with SEPTA. We have episodes about our education system. And then we have fun episodes like, where's the best pizza in the city?
Oh boy.
Where's the best cheesesteak in the city?
That doesn't sound fun. That's quite fraught, actually. That's someone who moved to Philadelphia.
Okay.
That's
It's complicated?
That's a heady conversation.
Yes, it is. Over the summer, I ate a bunch of cheesesteaks because I was trying to figure out who did have the best cheesesteak.
And what was your...
And what conclusion did you come to?
Yes.
Jim's on South.
Really?
And the reason,
Yes, okay.
Now we can debate about this, or we can have a conversation about it. Jim's Steaks was one of the first places I could go to as a teenager. So, being allowed to take the L and walk on South Street with the girls and, try to talk to the boys. And then
Try to talk to the boy.
right, standing in line. And so when they reopened after the fire, I went back and there's more space. There's mosaics everywhere.
Yes, it is nice in there.
Yeah. And I sat down, rolled up my sleeves,
Have to.
ate my cheesesteak. And it was like one of those Ratatouille moments when like you get transported back into your childhood.
Okay.
And that's why I picked Jim's on South.
The nostalgia.
The nostalgia. And then I left Jim's, and as soon as I came out, I'm still like chewing the last bit of the sandwich. I'm wiping my mouth. A guy walks down the street and he's like, "Is it as good as it always was?" And I was like, "Yeah, man. Yeah, it was."
Okay.
So that's why I chose Jim's.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So I want to know.
I mean, you're wrong, but
I'm not going to be that aggressive and say you were wrong.
Okay.
I do have an observation that in your entire defense, not one time did you mention the taste of the cheesesteak.
no, you did not.
It was juicy. The cheese melted. The onions soft.
I'm just saying when your initial
Oh, so
initially,
now,
you,
okay,
like you
y'all
said,
are coming
like
at
you
me.
said a whole thing.
You
and
had a whole story,
nostalgia,
took you back.
It was a beautiful epic saga.
The boys was
It was
talking.
boys, and you're in line, and it's so much room now to sit.
There's mosaics.
You
Oh my
talking
God.
about the mosaic, and I kept waiting for
The cheesesteak. Okay,
cheesesteak
wow.
itself. So that's just an observation. I'm not
Okay.
saying you're wrong. I'm just,
I mean, if anything, it sounds like it was chewy because you were still chewing it when you left. So
I was trying to set it up.
sure, absolutely.
And more the emotional side. But
Sure.
the cheesesteak is good.
It's good. Okay.
okay. All right.
Oh, y'all are judging.
I'm just listening.
I was just listening.
Listening to what you said.
Right.
Like when I talk about my favorite place, which is Max's cheesesteak.
Okay, that's a good cheesesteak. It's a big cheesesteak.
See, and I wonder whether or not that was part of it also, because Jim's, as I remember, it's a lot more manageable.
Yeah, it's manageable.
It's
Yes.
manageable.
Yes.
And Max's is food for the family.
And I feel
Yeah.
like they season the meat at Max's.
They do.
You do, I feel like, need some hot peppers.
At Max's?
At Max's, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't like hot peppers, so maybe.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I get
But
sweet
you
pepper.
got to be careful with their hot peppers because it could get hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But Angelo's was good too.
okay, Angelo's is a good cheesesteak.
Yeah. Angelo's, Max's, I could not finish the sandwich. I only had half. At Max's, I had a half of a half.
Right, you're supposed to have. Like, no,
Don't do like this guy.
I was about to say, don't get. No. One time I got full, and then I came and he shamed me. Well, he set me up though, because you sure you want a whole one? I'm like, I'm a grown man. Of course I want a whole one. Like, he had a lot of bass in his voice. when he said it.
Right.
And I'm not from Philly, so y'all always trying to try somebody. So I was like, yeah, expletive word. I want a whole one, and then
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, hey, you have your nostalgia, so it's fine. Jim Steaks. Okay.
Wait, you didn't
Jim is a good steak, though.
It is
you didn't tell us your favorite.
Max's is my favorite. I don't get to Max's as much as I'd like to, and I like D'Alessandro's almost as much as Max's.
Whoa, what's that face?
Yeah.
You don't like D'Alessandro's?
I wasn't impressed.
Really?
You know what? D'Alessandro, now I will say D'Alessandro doesn't season their meat.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed.
Yeah.
I ate it. I appreciate the service. It was fast. And then I was like, oh.
I like D'Alessandro's, but I actually, as opposed to, like, Max is number one, but I'll go to Chubby's across the street.
I don't like Chubby's.
What?
I like Chubby's.
I don't like
Chubby's has more flavor.
Yeah.
And their onions are cut larger. Yeah, I think it's better.
And much like you, part of my chubbies thing is I always feel like it's sociopaths at chubbies. Because people get like cheesesteaks and then they get fries.
Well,
Like who eats fries with it? Like what type of what kind of serial killer?
Here you go
gets
with
a
your serial killer.
cheesesteak
There's a lot,
and then also get you go to Chubby's because that's what everyone says. You go to Chubby's, you can get fries with it. And it's like, oh, clearly you have a deep freezer with some severed heads in it.
No, people do eat fries with cheesesteaks.
I know, right. People that you probably should not go into dark alleys with. What type of lunatic gets fries?
That's absolutely fine getting fries with a cheesesteak.
and Chubby says curly fries.
See, here we go.
She's like, I get the curly fries, Vince. Is that okay?
See. The voices tell me that the curly fries go with it. See.
Anyway,
Again, people are very passionate.
they are very passionate.
Their cheese
Very
steaks,
passionate. And we have a passionate person in the chat, Yahara Nuri.
That's my daughter.
I know.
Hey, babe. Make sure you do your homework.
No, that's right.
Get off the YouTube. Do your math.
She asked me a math problem. I said, "Oh, I'm not the one.
Oh no.
I'm not the one."
No. I stopped at multiplying by twos.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was it.
But look, yeah, not even.
Yeah, and that is the new math. Like they don't even figure out the problems the same way. I'm like, what's wrong with a plus and a minus? What's all this lines and all? Anyway, we're moving on.
Yes.
We're moving on. Where am I going next? I know where we're going next. We are going to your emails.
All right.
Or as we like to call them,
Missives from the Missionaries. So what else is going on, Lynn?
we have emails, Vincent.
Ooh, missives from the Missionaries. Ooh. Missives from the Missionaries.
Mrs. from the Missionaries, Vincent Trenae. We have a email from Corey Nicole.
Hey, what's up, Corey?
The subject line is rappers and their black movie director equivalent.
Okay.
Greetings to Len, Vincent, and Trenae. First things first, rest in peace to the music titan and legend Quincy Jones.
Yeah, we didn't even mention. We didn't mention Quincy
And the OG
Jones.
Candyman Tony Todd, both devastating losses to the black community. Yeah, you know what? Tony hit so personal that
Right.
Quincy Jones,
Right.
man.
And Quincy is so huge. It's like the sun went out.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
Goodness.
I mean, and another name that has come up on the Micheaux mission for more than a few times.
Yeah.
And Quincy Jones is someone who, you know, we're both big jazz. Well, you're a bigger jazz person, but I do enjoy jazz. And for a lot of people, they think, you know, Quincy Jones just popped up with Michael Jackson.
Right.
You know, or maybe you know that he did the theme song to Sanford and Son.
Right.
But
of course.
He is really one of the last connections to the 40s and 50s jazz era.
Look, just again, and what I thought you were going to say, we've talked about him on this show just from his musical scores. And
Right.
soundtracks.
Yeah.
Like so many. Yeah, it's I don't even know how you wrap your arms around that.
I know. And just the stories that we have lost, some infamous. But
You know, the blackest thing about Quincy Jones in the past 10 years is his children actually had to step in and shut him down.
yeah, it's like, yeah,
Okay, Dad.
okay.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, to step away from the microphone.
Right.
For Richard Pryor's family comes up to the door.
You can't sue somebody for slander if it's true.
And nobody followed him along. So
Exactly.
I don't know. Do you know the story that we're referring to?
Well, we were all right.
Well, we have to say it now. She's sitting here. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Quincy Jones in an interview famously alleged that Richard Pryor had a sexual relationship with Marlon Brando. Or it's more to the point, Marlon Brando had a sexual relationship with Richard Pryor.
And apparently Marlon Brando would sleep with anything, according to Richard Pryor. I mean, according to
Quincy Jones. Yes.
So,
And yes.
And no one said anything to deny those allegations.
They have said some things, but one family member, I think the children said no, it didn't happen. But one of Richard's ex-wives said
and Quincy was there. So,
yeah.
not there when it happened.
I was like,
not there when it happened.
Okay.
Well, yeah, he said it to music.
Remember, we were just talking about soundtracks and films. We just said that, actually.
Do you know that every time somebody makes a joke, Quincy Jones gets a
Quincy
royalty?
Jones wrote that, yeah.
Royalty.
wow.
But rest in peace, Quincy Jones as well.
Maybe it was better off that we didn't touch on Quincy Jones. I'm going to continue with the email. All right. Corey continues. Also, I can't take Eddie Murphy's singing seriously.
Okay.
That's one way to start.
No, I'm still stuck on the subject of this email.
Well, we haven't gotten to it yet.
Okay.
And the movie Driving Miss Daisy has aged like milk.
Yeah.
It's very dated, in my opinion. Are you a fan of Driving Miss Daisy?
No.
Okay. All right. There's only one of us on this stage.
It
All right.
is.
In the midst of a heavy week and grief after the election last Tuesday, I want to make a fun game that will hopefully lead into an interesting conversation. A game I want to play is matching black rappers and their black movie director equivalent. What sparked this idea was listening to Illmatic by Nas. As you all may know, Illmatic turned 30 back in April. Since Nas took on somewhat an alter ego of Nas Escobar, who would you think his black movie director equivalent would be? Think Public Enemy and Spike Lee, or even the Ghetto Boys or 3 6 Mafia with Jordan Peele, in terms of rapping about horrorcore or their overall environment. I can't wait to hear what you all come up with. Can't wait for the new episode. Love, as always, Corey. All right.
Director equivalent of Nas.
Of Nas. Now, you are the Nas head. Are you a fan of Nas?
I am.
So what black movie director equivalent would you put with Nas?
So I'm thinking it would have to be somewhat educational, someone who's educational. I'm thinking, and please forgive me, I don't know the director's name. Director of Black Panther.
Ryan Coogler.
Ryan
Yes,
Coogler.
yes.
Okay.
That's a good name. That's
who I would pair with Nas.
That's a good pair. That's a good pull. What about you, Vince?
When I think of Nas, I think lyricism. And to me, the most lyrical black director is Barry Jenkins.
Oh, that's very good. That is a good one.
You know, just paint a picture. So I would go with Barry Jenkins.
Nice. That's nice. The one that was coming to my mind, and I'm not even sure I would connect with that. Ryan Coogler is a good one, but the first person that came to my mind for no reason was this John Singleton.
Okay.
Because he kind of like did, you know, he did movies for us, but he did movies for them as well, with like the Fast and Furious movies. So that was the first one that came to my mind. But Barry Jenkins, that's a very good one. The whole lyrical vibe. I like that. I do like that.
Woohoo! I win.
And what have you won, Vincent? Another email. We have an email. This one is from Michael Sykes.
What's up, Michael?
Sanford Drama. Hello, Len, Vincent, and Trenae. I told you they know you're here.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I ran into an article on Nathaniel Rollo Taylor. a.k.a. Rita Lawson's boy, in the Washington Times, called Sanford and Son actor Nathaniel Taylor discusses Red Fox and the classic sitcom. In that article, he talks about DeMont Wilson saying, I only did 32 episodes. DeMont didn't let me do no more. Red and me got along great. The other guy, we didn't get along too well. It happens.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that up and also ask Vincent, does he know what inspired the great Quincy Jones to come up with the theme music for Sanford and Son? Quincy Jones will be missed, but never forgotten. Love, Michael Sykes.
I do not know the backstory
About the theme song.
Yeah.
Me neither.
Do you? Oh,
I don't. If only someone was working on a project that looked into the history of Sanford and Son.
If only. I did know that he did not get along with
That Rollo did not get along.
Yeah, I did know that.
That's interesting. Maybe did he feel like he was pulling focus?
Look, Rollo was infinitely cooler than Lamont.
But that was the character.
I know, but you could see basically what you just said. Like he was drawing energy away from Lamont.
That's interesting. Wow. Because there were a couple of episodes where it looked like they were trying to really build them up as like a comedy team a little bit, And wow.
It's kind of like how Ricky Schroeder got Jason Bateman fired
from Silver
Spoons.
That's right. That's right. And then
how you like that, Trenae? How you like that? You with us?
I'm trying to keep
you with
up.
us?
I'm trying to keep up. Yeah.
So you got all right.
Yeah.
We're back in the 70s.
Yeah. It's okay.
Well,
I mean, I do know what the show is, so yes.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, but I'm just glad he didn't get him fired because I love Rollo.
Well, he only did 32 episodes,
which
I mean, that's not the show was on for 5 years and they were doing like 20, 30 episodes a season.
Right.
So 32 is not a lot considering that he was supposed to be like his best friend. Well, he wasn't.
And I wonder if he's including was that him on the Sanford Arms?
I think
or was he on Sanford?
I think
it was the Sanford Arms.
He comes back for Sanford Arms.
I wonder if he's including the Sanford Arms.
No, I think he's just talking about Sanford
and Son. Okay.
I think he's just talking about
interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's a shame. But we'll talk about that more later. All right. We have one more email from Michael Lockett.
Hey, what's up, Michael?
Haunted by an oversimplification of Anna.
Okay. All right.
Brothers, it's great to have you back. Len, I hope your polling station commander experience was not the walking nightmare it seemed to be for so many. I actually was a judge of elections.
Yes.
During the elections, and it was very depressing. It was very depressing. It was depressing. I will say this: it was depressing primarily because while I was set up in the Kensington area, which is where I live, which is a predominantly white area. So it was a Polish area, actually. So it was a lot of Polish people coming there. But it's slowly become more mixed. So there was a lot of Latin families coming through.
Okay.
And some black families. I was very disheartened because I didn't see a lot of black men coming through. It was mostly when there were black people and black women. And there were, there was a lot of, I live in a Republican area. I would live in Trump town. So they were coming through and they were unabashedly like going for Trump, but for totally booty reasons.
Conversations of why they were.
Yeah, because I would go outside because you weren't allowed to really talk about it when you're casting your vote. But when I would go outside, they would be outside talking about it. It's like, yeah, he's going to lay these tariffs down, man, and that's going to change the game. And I'm like, clearly having no idea how tariffs work, that this is going to be a tax on you and me. And it was just really disheartening. And there were more than a few people out there that was just, let's just say they couldn't come to resolve it within themselves that they were going to vote for a woman or even less a black woman, and that being the only reason. And it was really very disheartening. I mean,
voter turnout is still like, I think, a major issue in Philly and across our country, really. And I'm still trying to figure out, how do you make voting sexy? Like, how do you get people connected in this process without excluding people, making people feel heard from day one?
Yes.
And I feel like, there's some reckoning that has to be done with certain political parties in terms of how they communicate with people. So there was a lot of celebrities in our city, but still there was a disconnect, I feel like. So what's that about?
I don't know.
Well, hopefully we still have elections in 2 years, and we can.
Yes, I think we will.
We can see if we can stem the tide.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that, and then I'll get back to the email. With all that heaviness that was going on, what did you do to kind of like break away, to escape from all of that? Did you do anything?
Comedy.
Yeah?
Walking 4 miles a day.
Okay. I walk 6 miles a day.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Where do you walk?
I walk.
If you don't mind me asking.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. I walk along Richmond down and then down to Delaware Avenue, like around Rivers Casino.
Okay, Rivers.
Yeah.
Ward or
no, Rivers Casino.
But aren't they like calling that a new neighborhood now?
Well, there's this whole like complex going up down there.
That means.
Well, yeah, and it's heavy.
Right.
Here comes the bike lanes, the dog parks, and the beer
they
garden.
created basically a whole neighborhood called North Bank that I go. I walk through there.
Yeah.
That's maybe about 2 miles of going the direction I go before I get to Rivers.
Okay.
And Rivers, I guess, because there's all big construction. If they're calling it something else, I don't know. I just call it Richmond Street. This is the street I walk on.
Okay.
I'll walk around in the Kensington area. I've been told that I'm no longer allowed to walk on Kensington Avenue because this is a little bit too crazy. So you don't need to be walking here. Yes, love, I won't be walking there. So
Gotcha.
for her safety, for her
sanity. Yeah.
I won't be on there.
Yes.
So what comedy did you escape to? Did you go to live comedy or was it movies?
Yeah, I love stand-up comedy.
Really?
Yes. I secretly wish I could be on SNL. I try to throw jokes in the podcast. One of the jokes was that, thank God that the election's over because I wasn't getting bills. I was getting election flyers. So I'm glad the bills are coming back to me.
Right.
Pico, my old friend. Thank you.
Yes.
Haven't seen you in a while. So being with friends, family, escaping Philly for a little bit. And just also not talking about it sometimes is the escape.
Well, there you go. Well, then let's get off it. Let's keep on moving into the email. I caught that clue. I know what you're doing. You see a podcast with like segue. Michael continues. Okay. He offers condolences to the family and friends of Tony Todd as well. The mission and this country have taken me on a wild ride over the past 2 weeks. One I'm grateful for and the other not so much. Vince, you weren't the only one duped by the titling concerning Haunted Mansion.
Yes.
Which we recently reviewed.
Yes.
I was happy you guys were going to do another Eddie Murphy movie. I have been waiting to talk about this. And then, the okey doke. We did Haunted Mansion from 2024.
That's how they get you.
Haunted Mansion, in my opinion, really wasted a fantastic cast. It really felt like this film was set up to be more tragic and heart-wrenching and was caught in the long shadows of the Disney logo and what it's supposed to represent. Since I had an extra week, I time traveled twice.
Okay.
My first stop, just to explain, Michael is someone who was watching our following the episodes of our podcast in real time. So he'll listen to the recent episode, and he is catching up on our backlog. So that's when he time travels.
That's so great.
And then he watches the movies and then it's really cool.
Yeah.
So Michael, right on. All right. My first stop with you two was an oversimplification of her beauty by Terrence Nance, who put in that work. He blurred the lines of storytelling and visual media used as well. The brothers showed out with his mix of styles and playing with time. The story was simple and heartfelt and made me feel good for the simple fact that it was a simple, real story about and through the lens of us. I don't know if you're aware of this film, Oversimplification of Her Beauty. It is a visual treat. It's a stunning film, but it's a sweet film. Do you like romance?
I'm more of an action girl, comedy.
Okay.
I like guns and fast cars.
Okay.
I'm from Philly.
Okay.
Nice.
That's the explanation. I'm from Philly.
Right.
Romance.
Go get a cheesesteak, look at the murals, and then get some guns and fast cars.
Yeah, like,
Can I put some bullets in my cheesesteak?
See? Curly fries with cheesesteaks. This is what I'm talking about.
Psychopath. So, Mike continues, I then jumped over to Anna LaCosta.
Okay.
This was a mission hookup. This was the first I had heard of or seen this flick. Again, maybe because of my age, I really love this film. At its core, it was simple. Will they, won't they love story that attempted to center the woman, that being Eartha Kitt. It's nice to see people at or near the height of their powers as opposed to the version you have stuck in your head. I was a TV Batman fan, and Eartha tore that shit up as Catwoman, but damn, I had no idea how top shelf amazing she was until this.
Yeah.
Speaking of people at the height of their powers versus when I, or perhaps you, discovered them, which black actors do you feel had a second act in their career as strong or stronger than their first? When I was pondering, my list kept ending up with Diane Carroll, Ossie Davis, Cecily Tyson, Denzel Washington.
I was about to say.
Tyler Perry, as much as it pains me, and Will Smith, even though his second act isn't done at this point, I think. All the best, Michael. Actors who had a strong second act. Well, first of all, he says Denzel Washington. I don't think Denzel Washington ever left the stage.
Right. I think it's difficult to say he had a second act because that assumes it was...
It dipped for a minute.
Right. It was like a, what's it called? Between acts?
Intermission.
An intermission. Like there was no... But there's clearly a body of work of Denzel where he's younger Denzel.
Okay, but
and at this point, there's a body of work. No, but I do think people have distinctive errors. Even someone who's been not, and there are people that know that. I have a funny story about this. Actually, I was teaching a class and like 18, 19-year-olds, freshmen, and I showed a soldier story to them. And again, these are 18, 19-year-olds. True story. 20 kids in the class, films showing. Denzel comes out in a soldier story. There is an actual ruckus that breaks out in the back of the class. Oh my God, who is that? Oh my God. I have to pause the film, raise the lights. Yes, that is Denzel Washington. That is who your mama and your aunts and all were talking about. Yep. I know you only know him as the Equalizer, but this is the Denzel that your mother was talking about. Get it all out. Can we continue the film? Because I think he has had these distinct, you got Fences Denzel and Equalizer Denzel.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But
Then Mo Better Blues.
I was about to say Mo Better Blues Denzel. Devil in a Blue Dress Denzel. That's a whole different Denzel.
Yeah, Trenae was waiting for it.
She was waiting.
What about Mo Better Blues?
Because when he had the horn and the little and the shirt on,
Play me.
Oh man.
You just don't call it romance. No, go ahead.
There are no guns in No Better Blues, nor fast cars, and yet somehow
It depends on your weapon, Vincent.
I was thinking Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
he's another one.
But Samuel Jackson.
Wasn't he actually more like a thespian at first and then got into film, or?
Well, yes, but he actually had like a little bit of time where he was going through some personal stuff and wasn't as active as he would want to be. And I would say like his beginning act was never like a big star when he was younger. He actually got to prominence when he was a little bit older.
Okay.
You know?
Likewise, Ingenue Ellis, who was kind of around in the 90s. Like you see films, it's like, it's Ingenue Ellis, but certainly in the past 5-6 years, has been an ingenue renaissance.
I think somebody who maybe fits this what he's thinking a little bit more is actually James Earl Jones. Because James Earl Jones had like a moment
That's true.
where his trajectory was going to be up there. Like he might be following in Sidney and Harry Belafonte's footsteps.
That's true.
And then he steps out for a minute.
Well, he's another one. You have young man James Earl Jones, and then you have older kind of statesman James Earl Jones.
Yeah, so I think James might fit that. But that's an interesting question.
That is an interesting question.
Oh,
Michael.
This might be controversial. Eddie Murphy?
Well, he keeps starting and sputtering with his second act.
There's weird acts though, right? Because there was Beverly Hill Cop, right?
Yes.
Fresh. It was the stand-up comedy.
Right.
Then it was like the dad era.
Oh, that's true.
He doesn't have his family era.
Right.
Yeah,
I guess I'm thinking about he hasn't done a third act, but you're right.
Or the third act is like the weird, uncomfortable remake of Beverly Hill Cop.
Or the third act is Netflix Eddie.
Right.
Right. Comfortable shoes, Eddie.
Yeah, that's what it's streaming Eddie.
Yeah.
You know, which streamer want me? You know what I mean? But no, I think Eddie is a good one.
Yeah, Eddie's a good one.
I think Eddie is because definitely when he starts doing the family movies and like he's doing a lot of voice work, you know, the Shrek and Mulan, that's a whole nother vibe. But his star is still on the rise. There are a generation that know him for those films.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Now that I think about it, and this is totally different vibe, but think of how big, and I'm just going to name 2 stars. Queen Latifah and LL Cool J were in music.
Right.
And there are probably 2 generations that don't know anything about their music.
Right.
Only know them as actors.
Yeah.
And fairly successful actors.
Yeah.
But that's what they know. They don't know, you know, the queen, the real queen.
Right.
And one leg pulled up LL.
Leg pulled up LL.
I could never make it work. I tried. Sweats it just didn't.
Well, the secret is it didn't work for him either. It's just LL. So like he could have done anything.
Okay, so then it did work for him.
Yeah, but that's like saying, like he could have been walking around with a ukulele and he's making that work. I mean, yeah, because it's like LL, right?
Okay,
So you know,
I hear you.
all right.
I hear you.
But thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
That was good.
That was a good one. And that was our emails.
All right.
And if you want to have your emails read here on the Micheaux Mission, please send them in to micheauxmission@gmail.com. That's MICHEAUXMISSION@gmail.com. We're going to move on with Vincent and with Trenae Nuri of CityCast Philly. It is now time for the top 5.
Top 5. Who's your top 5? My top 5 is.
We're going to move.
My top 5 is.
Maybe.
My top 5 is. My top 5.
Top 5, where I come up with a list and Vincent and our very special guest, Trenae, share their scintillating conversation and comments on this list. Keeping it in theme, we are going to be reviewing Pride from 2007, which is based on a true life story of Jim Ellis, set here in Philadelphia, a phenomenal swimming coach who creates the first African-American swimming team. Is it in the country? In fact, I think
it's the first nationally renowned, like it's some type of modifier in there.
Yeah.
Where he, he's very gracious and says, this is not the first program, but it is the first like something training or renowned.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Still exists today.
And it still exists.
Absolutely.
And I think the man only recently stopped coaching. So he's the man. But that is a true to life story, a movie also set in Philadelphia. We can argue whether or not it was filmed in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But it is set in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And it's a real story. It's a real story. Did you know there have been quite a few real stories, phenomenal stories set in Philadelphia that have been made into movies?
Are there now?
And no, not one of them is Rocky.
Right.
Because for tonight's top 5, Rocky ain't real.
Rocky ain't real.
We are. These are actual true stories, true movies that are set here in Philadelphia. Now, I'm going to ask for your comments on these films, but I'm also going to ask for you to come up with, because unlike Rocky, these films and Pride do not have a statue that people can go and see in our city. So I want you to determine whether or not any of these ones are qualify for or should qualify for a statue here in the city, and what that statue should be. Okay? Starting with number 5. We're going back to 1967 with The Happiest Millionaire. Are you familiar with this film?
No, I'm not.
I'm not either.
It is a 1967 musical that starred Fred MacMurray. Of My Three Sons fame, based upon the true story of Philadelphia millionaire Anthony Drexel Biddle. It is the film of this millionaire who actually would go and donate money to people in and around the city. This musical featured music by the Sherman Brothers and was actually nominated for Academy Award for Best Costume. It was the last live action musical to be produced by Walt Disney himself before his death in 1966. Doesn't sound like either of you are familiar with this story.
No.
I'm not.
I was not familiar with it either. But it's Fred MacMurray. It's a musical. It can't be good because
I was about to say, and I'm still not that interested in it.
Yeah, because
Fred
it seems kind of corny.
Yes, and Fred MacMurray, who I enjoy as an actor, but is not a singer. So
there was not one thing about anything that you just said that sounded interesting.
I know. So we'll move on to number 4. You kept
adding new details that were not interesting.
Well, I'm moving on to number 4.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
This is from 1979.
No statue for you.
Excuse me. This is from 1993. I'm sorry.
All right.
The movie is Money for Nothing, a biographical comedy directed by Ramon Menendez and starring John Cusack in the lead role. This film is based on the 1986 Philadelphia Inquirer article Finders Keepers, loosely based on the life of Joey Coyle, who in 1981 discovered $1.2 million that had fallen out of an armored van in Philadelphia. This is a fictionalization of events depicting Coyle's struggles with keeping the money over a 5-day period. Coyle himself actually acted as a consultant on the film. However, he died by suicide 3 weeks before the film's release. I'm just reading the facts.
That took a turn. I'm not laughing at that. It's just,
Right, where'd that come from?
wow.
He was struggling. So what do you want me to tell you? I don't know.
Deep.
It's very dark, very dark. Now, being a lifelong Philadelphian, I remember this story of Joey Coyle when he found this money, and I do remember like reading over the time, like, you know, he was just some, you know, Joe Blow. It's like, oh my God, I found this bag of money, and you know, the people start coming at you, you know, like, oh, Joey, you know, you do this, do that.
Why did he tell people?
Yeah.
Well, it became news. I mean,
How did people find out?
And this was the early 80s?
1981, I think. 1981.
You know that joke. If I won the lottery, there will be signs.
Right. But it would be signs. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
and
We're all getting Max's cheesesteak.
whole
the whole one.
The whole one.
That's right.
whole Max and cheese. Maybe that's what Joey did. He
Yeah.
bought everybody Max's
I
cheese.
vaguely remember this movie because I really, really, really like John Cusack.
So do I. I've never seen the film. I do want to
Yeah.
see the movie because I am a John Cusack fan.
I don't remember the suicide part, but I don't know if that made it to the movie.
I don't believe that made it to the movie. It was a comedy, so I don't think that made it to the movie. I hope that did make it to the movie.
Yeah, I don't know if this one gets a statue either, Lynn.
That doesn't get no statue of Joey Coyle?
No, just...
Okay, that's fine.
All right.
Moving on.
All right.
All right, we're moving on to 2006,
Okay.
a biographical sports drama starring one Mark Wahlberg,
Yeah.
Invincible,
Yeah.
based on the non-fictional story of Vince Papalelli, who played for the Philadelphia Eagles from 1976 to 78 with the help of his coach, Dick Vermeil, who was played by Greg Kinnear. This film was actually filmed here in Philadelphia. I remember when they were going around the city filming this this movie. They definitely played a little fast and loose with the facts, but it pretty much was a true story about this guy who lucked up and became a quarterback with the Philadelphia
I
Eagles.
think this is a lot of Philadelphians' dream.
Yes,
It is.
It is every Philadelphian's dream that ever picked up a football. You can run around officially for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could see a statue for Vince.
You know how some things feel racist? Like, I don't think it's... Like, I don't know if it's racist. Like, there's nothing about it that, that's... But it kind of feels racist.
Why does this
Why?
feel racist?
There's something about the Philadelphia sports.
That's because you don't like sports.
No. But it's the way they talk about athletes, and you know, it's like this has the stench of I could do that. You know, it's just
But that wasn't the case though. I mean, he was somebody who actually did have a football background.
I can't put my finger on it, but it's just I never liked this movie.
Well,
And I ain't like, what's the movie about the guy at Notre Dame that he was Rudy?
Rudy, yeah.
Right. Like it's a version of Rudy. I never like this whole, he's got grit and he can, through grit and hard work, he can do what those naturally gifted silverback gorilla men can do.
okay, but that wasn't Invincible, to be fair.
yeah.
All right. Look,
Rudy's a different movie.
Yeah, that's a...
Hey, I ain't from here. I'm just saying it was just something about it. I ain't like it. I ain't like it.
I think you're being a little bit too harsh on this one.
Hey, look, y'all want to give it a statue? 2 out of 3, y'all gonna give it a statue?
I don't think it deserves a statue, but I don't think it was racist.
Okay, I didn't say it was racist. I just said it.
You just said it
I
was
said
racist.
It felt racist.
I don't care what you do with your fingers.
It was
You're
something.
calling it racist.
It was some kind of. You ever eat a blondie and like you can tell they put a little coconut in it, and like you kind of like you taste the coconut, and it's like Is it coconut in this?
Trenae is never coming back. What are you doing?
But you know what I mean, right? Like sometimes you go get a blondie and like, you know how they sneak coconut in the stuff?
No.
And it's like,
Who sneaks coconut?
Is that coconut?
Who sneaks coconut into us?
Oh my God.
That's how this movie felt to me. Like it wasn't racist. I don't think it, but it was like, I feel like they snuck some racism in here. It's like a little, it's like a little taste of racism in here somewhere. Like they didn't use.
Does it taste like coconut?
It was like ground. It was like ground coconut.
Like coconut.
Right. It's like ground coconut. It's like ground racism.
It's in the back of your tongue.
Right. It's like, is it coconut in this?
Crackers. What are you doing?
Oh
Moving on.
Right.
From 2008, Marley and Me.
Yeah.
Familiar with Marley?
You had a dog. Yeah.
Marley and Me. Oh my God. Which stars Owen Wilson and Jennifer Aniston as the owners of Marley, a Labrador Retriever. This is based on the book Marley and Me, Life and Love with the World's Worst Dog by John Grogan. About 13 years he and his family spent with their yellow Labrador Retriever, Marley. The dog is poorly behaved and destructive, and the book covers the issues this causes in the family as they learn to accept him in addition to their grief following Marley's death. All these Philly films.
Hey, damn, Lynn.
All these Philly films.
Now we got a dead dog. So we got a dead dog, ground racism, suicide, a boring millionaire. Who was the fifth one?
We haven't gotten to the fifth.
Okay.
It sounds about Philly to me.
It sounds Philly. Oh, okay. So no statue to Marley?
No, because it's sad.
What's that got to do with the statue?
Nobody wants a sad statue.
It's not going to be a sad statue. It's going to be a statue of Marley. Oh, look it up.
What's number one?
Number one. All right. From 2020. Concrete Cowboy.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yes.
oh yeah. Here we
That was
go.
the one I was hoping.
Right. We had to get through all the other.
The movie based on the novel Ghetto Cowboy by Greg Neary, which was inspired by the real urban African-American horse riding culture of Philadelphia, and in particular, the Fletcher Street Urban Riding Club. The film that stars Idris Elba and Colette McLaughlin, Byron Bowers, and Clifford Smith, better known as Method Man. While the film is fictional, several real members of the Fletcher Street riding community play supporting characters who give voice to real issues that the community face in Concrete Cowboy. Can we get a Concrete Cowboy?
Yes.
100%.
Yes,
Love
absolutely.
them. Love them.
Okay.
There's a mural on 33rd Street.
Yes.
But that's not enough.
It's not enough. Not at all.
Absolutely should get
It's
a statue.
definitely a Philly phenomenon where you're like, oh, a horse. You get excited.
Right. 100%.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that the statue is a concrete cowboy.
A concrete
Yeah,
cowboy,
absolutely.
big on a horse, just like there is a general outside of City Hall on a horse.
Yes.
Concrete cowboy,
Yeah,
or
love that.
someone from the Fletcher Street Riding Club should get a statue.
100%.
Yes. All right. Well, there's the statue.
All right, you stuck the landing.
There you go.
All right.
Well, that's the top 5.
Yes.
And we've got one statue out of it.
Yes.
Hey, I would rather have that statue than the Rocky statue. I understand the whole deal, but he ain't real. And you can't tell people that he's not real.
Dude, when I moved to Philly, my cousin told, and I've told you this before, my cousin said everything you know about Philly, Philly is a city that loves a white fictional athlete more than it does the real black ones.
I know. Shoot. Hey.
Allen Iverson statue, I still have issue with.
What's your issues with it? You don't like the look?
So small.
Oh, right.
And he's such a
Huge
big figure, not in just sports, but in pop culture.
Oh, one of the greatest things was living in Philly during that moment.
Yes. I remember watching the Sixers play the Lakers. It was Kobe Bryant. It was Allen Iverson. I had this small little TV. And I stayed up to watch it. And just, watching the documentaries now about that time, about who he was, changing the dress code, the braids.
Everything.
Icon.
Yeah.
Definitely an icon.
More murals should be on these walls with him, of him. And he needs a bigger statue.
Well, I wouldn't argue that.
I wouldn't argue that at all. And I wouldn't argue more murals with Allen Iverson. He is still a cultural icon.
Yes.
So, yeah, I would. All right. It is now time for the Game of Kings.
All right.
It is now time for 6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin. Six Degrees of D'Urville Martin, where I come up with 2 actors and Vincent has 6 films or less to connect them to D'Urville Martin. That man also deserving of a statue.
Absolutely.
From the 70s.
Philadelphia and all of the cities that have a cast.
Yes. And Vincent has a lifeline.
I do.
Trenae Nuri of the City Cast Philly.
Hope I can help.
All right.
Keeping it in theme, we're going to be reviewing tonight Pride from 2007. Vincent.
Yes.
Can you connect D'Urville Martin in 6 movies or less to this star from Pride?
Okay.
And you cannot use Pride.
Okay.
Tom Arnold.
So the only 2, it's funny because Tom Arnold is part of that really fascinating group of white people that's in Tyler Perry movies. Because isn't he in what's he in? Witness Protection? Is it Witness Protection that he's in?
Perhaps.
But
I only watch Tyler Perry movies when I absolutely have to for the show.
No. Look, the easiest way to get to him is, of course, Soul Plane. So we'll be a little. Well, here you go. Speaking of, I don't know where I would put Denzel in this Denzel movie in our conversation. It's almost a transitional
period for his career.
In his career, but D'Urville Martin is, of course, in 5 on the Black Hand Side with Dick Anthony Williams, who's in Mo Better Blues with Denzel Washington. But then Denzel Washington is in Training Day.
Yes.
With Snoop. And that's an interesting moment for him because he's getting a little older, but he's still like sexy Denzel in it.
Yeah.
He's like getting a little older. But to our point, Snoop is in Soul Plane.
With Tom Arnold. Very good, Vincent.
Yeah.
Very good. Now, I knew that you were going to go and use Soul Plane.
Yes.
I knew that. So the next actor is an actor from Soul Plane, and you can't use Soul Plane.
Aren't they also in Soul Plane though?
Yes.
Who is it, Lynn? Who is it?
No.
What is the theme? You said, is this person in
No. But they were in this movie with Tom Arnold.
So the theme is just you just make it.
It started with
who is it, Lynn? Who is it?
Is it?
You want to guess who it is? Who I chose?
Bernie Mac?
No.
Oh, he'd never.
Oh no. They're not also in
okay,
this movie. No, that'd be too easy.
Okay.
All right.
No.
Who is it?
They can't make it easy.
Who is it?
In 6 films or less, connect D'Urville Martin to Sofia Vergara.
She's also one of the people that's in Tyler Perry movies.
Okay.
Because she's in
Stereotypical like Latin.
right because she's in Medea Goes to Jail, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Because she plays spicy Latina in jail.
Well, the character's name is TT, but okay.
Oh, Tyler Perry. But all right, we'll keep that going. Here you go. Same start. Dick Anthony Williams, Denzel Washington, and Mo Better Blues. But then you jump from there to one of the great giant performances in the past 15 years from his elder statesman period. He is in Fences with Viola Davis, who somehow is in Medea Goes to Jail.
What character did she play?
Yeah, she's like a counselor.
She's like a...
Yeah.
It's like, is that Viola Davis?
Yes, in one scene, yes, she is in.
With Sophia Vergara.
She had a mortgage payment. All right, very good, Vincent. Very good. You did it. You did it. It was very.
I only know her in 2 movies.
But Soul Plane.
Soul Plane. And again, you know, it's that fascinating thing that Tyler Perry does every 2 or 3 years, where he's like, I'm going to try and get some white people to watch my movie. And then he puts white people in it, you know, in her case, Hispanic, but, you know, white people love Sofia Vergara because of Modern Family. And it's like, oh, okay, but that's a weird little fraternity to be in.
See,
White people in Tyler Perry movies.
I don't know her from the Tyler Perry movies.
She also was in Four Brothers.
Is she in Four Brothers?
She is Tyrese's girlfriend.
You know what?
Who calls the...
You're right. She is.
I've never actually seen Four Brothers.
Really?
It's not bad. I don't remember it being bad.
It wasn't bad.
I definitely saw
You know,
it once.
I really like the Sons of Katie Elder.
Katie Elder.
Yeah, like I really like that
original.
movie, which this is a remake of. So it kind of kept me away from it. Plus, you know, I don't really do Tyrese.
Or Mark Wahlberg.
I don't do a lot of Mark Wahlberg. Yeah.
Yes. My Sofia Vergara movie is a little known film, gem, I like to call it, called The Three Stooges.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Is she in the Three Stooges movie?
Yes, it's not great, but she's in it. So is Jennifer Hudson. So is Larry Charles. I mean, what's his name?
Larry David?
Larry David. I got a soft spot for the Three Stooges in general. But anyway,
What's her big movie?
the Three Stooges. No, I don't know if she really.
She never really made the leap.
I mean, because she rocked out on TV.
Right,
so
right.
I don't think she really. There's not like a big movie. Yeah, Soul Plane may be the big one. Really, that's it. You know, and you know, once you got that Modern Family money,
Look.
she's like, yo, I'm good.
Look.
She's good for a minute.
That's almost as good as them office checks, I think. Like, they never need...
They might be. I bet her Modern Family check might even be better than
a lot of them office checks.
because the Office was a large ensemble,
Right, yeah.
and she was one of the
She
stars.
never needs to work again. You can tell, like, did you see Griselda?
No.
Me either, but you could tell it was an art project. It's like, oh, somebody has a lot of money. Like your whole brand is you fawn, and then you make a movie and tell them put a prosthetic nose on me. It's like, oh yeah, you got a lot of money.
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I will see it one day.
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
All right.
Let's move on into our review
All right.
with Trenae Nuri
Yeah.
of Pride from 2007. And I will give me one moment to Pride. An American biographical film from 2007, loosely based upon the true story of Philadelphia swim coach James "Jim" Ellis. Pride stars Terrence Howard, Bernie Mac, and Kimberly Elise, and the film directed by Sanu Gonera. The film centers on Jim Ellis and a grouchy but caring janitor, Elston, who form a friendship at the Marcus Foster Recreation Center in a poor neighborhood in Philadelphia and will go on to create the city's first all African American swim team, the PDR team, which stands for Pride, Determination, and Resilience, or Philadelphia Department of Recreation. In this film, Pride, brought to the mission by our very special guest of the CityCast Philly podcast, Trenae Nuri. Trenae, what say you? What do you have to say of Pride?
Inspirational. So one of the reasons, and I was reflecting on this when I was on my way here, I also came back to a sport that I had left. Oh. So this film came out in 2007. In 2007, I was playing Division I field hockey.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, at Hofstra University, a sport that was non-traditional, similar to what we see in the film. Kids playing basketball, being introduced to the water, right? And it's that cultural, like, you know, moment of, you know, Black people and water and swimming. And so growing up, I often, you know, would tell my family, I play field hockey. They like, oh yeah, Trina, you play lacrosse, soccer. No.
Everything was that field
hockey. Field hockey. And so in 2007, unfortunately, I had to leave Hofstra, financial reasons. My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and that ended my career. But then there was a knock at the door, and similar to Coach Jimmy, this year I actually became a field hockey coach.
Get out of here.
So I came back to the sport that I love. And, you know, growing up, I was introduced to field hockey when I was in 6th grade. A woman from Trinidad, she's like, Trenae, you know field hockey? I'm like, no, I'm from Delaware County. I don't know what this is. And I got hooked. I literally got hooked. I asked my mom, put me in different clubs. I was so hungry.
Were you into sports at all?
Yeah, my dad was a track coach. So again, like traditional things and trying to educate my family on non-traditional sports. And, you know, I did have that experience. You know, I did not have an experience of like severe prejudice and racism, but I did have the experience of sometimes being the only Black girl. So I kind of knew that experience. But now coaching, I mean, the sport has just stretched out and is so much more diverse. And so it kind of just melted my heart to see other girls involved in this sport now. And so, yeah, there's, you know, some tough love in this movie from Coach Jimmy. I don't think I was like that this season with my girls, but maybe they say something different. But yeah, just, you know, being taken away from the sport that you love, that you work so hard to advance in. And you learn that, you know, he was up there, but had to deal with so much racism and prejudice and people saying they didn't even want to touch the water because he was in it. No one ever put me in that type of position, thank God. But yeah, you know, there were moments when it felt weird, you know, being the only Black girl. But then as I got older, and I was lucky that my team at Hofstra University, there were other girls from Barbados and Trinidad that were on the team, and shout out to them. And so, yeah, that's why this story just speaks so deeply for me.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. And like you said, the movie actually starts off with him, you know, facing this racism as he's about to go to a meet in the 60s, and they don't even want to get in the water with him. Just, this is a little bit of like a PG film, so you don't hear them calling them the worst of slurs, but you can imagine that's just very sanitized of what he's being hit with.
And his coach you know, who is a white man, defends him and says, you know what? Who cares what they say? Mm-hmm. Go and swim. Mm-hmm. Protects him too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that, you know, that really touched me as well, because, you know, I just think about just the power of a coach.
Yes.
They become extended family sometimes, and how important they are to young people. Mm-hmm. And just, you know, your parents can tell you certain things. You're just like, whatever. But a coach, that's somebody that could be really special to you.
Sure. You know, I think a film like this, you know the beats.
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen from the moment it comes on to the moment it goes off. There's nothing really that unexpected. But this version of the story is one that you just haven't seen. I think there's something so resonant about swimming in blackness. As you mentioned, they have that moment where the white team doesn't even want to touch the water that he's in. That's so reminiscent of so many stories that we've heard about Black people with swimming pools. And in full disclosure, Jim Ellis has said that a lot of the racism in this film was dramatized.
Yeah, a little played.
Like he didn't face it.
Wasn't to that level.
To this level. But again, I do think there's something very powerful about Black people and swimming, just as a subject that this film captures. I think the performances, you know, Terrence Howard, Bernie Mac, you understand why they're Terrence Howard and Bernie Mac. And I was thinking about Kim Elise. I think Kim Elise always sort of elevates thing or like adds an air of legitimacy to it. It's like, you know, obviously Bernie Mac and Terrence Howard operate in both film world, and they've been very successful in television. Mm-hmm. So that if you saw this film on TV, you know, it was on TBS, TNT, the fact that they're on there, the fact that Bernie Mac and Terrence Howard are in the film, you aren't quite sure, oh, is this a made for television film that they're showing, or is this something that was in the movies? But then Kim Elise shows up and you're like, oh yeah, this was in the movies because it's Kim Elise. And you know, I like the dynamic between them. Again, as a film, it's by the numbers. You know, a fairly young Nate Parker is in here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's good to see him. I've always liked Evan Ross. Mm-hmm. You know, I always like Evan Ross, and it's always nice to see him. But just a neat little movie. You know, just a neat little movie.
Going back to what you said about, like, you know what the how the plot and the beats are. I'm always thinking too, like, who this movie, like how movies are introduced and like the next generation that sees this movie. Literally right before we filmed, I had this playing in the house and it captivated the kids.
Okay.
So
I'm curious if you don't mind me asking their ages.
12 and 10.
Okay.
So I feel like it is not too like disturbing where I'm just like, okay, like y'all probably like close your eyes. But it's enough where I could walk away. Hopefully you learn something. You know what I mean? It's safe for them. So y'all know what used to or could have happened to us.
Yeah, it's a valuable lesson in that way. I think there is, like I mentioned, there's a little bit of a sanitized feel like this is a sanitized story that's being presented, but it can be readily accessible to everyone, no matter your age, adult or young. And I can see, you know, kids watching this and then seeing the young teenagers that become the swim team and like, you know, gravitating and resonating with how they joke around with each other, how they pick on one another, but they pick on one another in crew. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because there's one young boy who obviously has some mental
Speech.
his speech,
Yeah.
but it's never made fun of. It's he's never joked about it. He is always accepted as one of them. You know what I mean? So I can see people like rallying around that whole thing. The relationship that does develop between Jim Ellis and Elston, the Bernie Mac character, people going there. Kimberly Elise, I hear what you're saying, like her kind of lending an air of legitimacy, but there was part of me watching this film, and this is the adult eye looking at it. Oh, they could afford one black woman for this film. So she has to be the councilwoman who's closing down the rec center. She has to be the sister of one of the boys, and she has to be the love interest.
That's right.
In the film.
Right.
It's like there are other black actresses outside in the.
You got Kim Elise. You just use Kim Elise for all of it.
Well, can't Kim do that?
At the end, they say, "Well, who's going to run the anchor?" I expected her to rip her dress off and say, "I'm going to swim the anchor."
I wouldn't have been surprised. So with that said, even though she's filling up those 3 roles in this film, I still felt she was a little underutilized.
Oh yeah,
in the movie. But the story beats you. As I'm watching it, and in full transparency, I enjoyed the film. It didn't bowl me over. Maybe because I could see the beats. There's one real big distracting thing I'm gonna talk about in a second. But I also recognize, okay, but I don't think I'm the audience for this.
Right.
I think the audience for this film are probably, people that are teenagers, or maybe even younger, like your children.
Yeah, younger.
I think families, because
there you go.
Trying to find black family films can be challenging.
It can be very challenging. Yeah.
Or stuff like my kids have media literacy to know based off like a film poster. Oh, this is about to be corny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, we're not watching this. And so this was a film that easily I'm like, I could walk away. It's safe for y'all to watch. We have a discussion after about it, about what you saw.
Yeah. Quick aside, when your children are watching films, are they eating popcorn or pretzel bites?
Well, we were watching Despicable Me 4, and she made a concoction of buffalo Cheez-Its and pretzels and popcorn and Kool-Aid jammers on the side.
All right, movie night at Trenae's. Okay.
It's really my daughter. Credit to her, because...
See me. Okay. I do want to say this, and I just want to get it out because we're already running a little late. We're having so much fun here.
We are.
I never thought I would say this, but the 5 Heartbeats have spoiled period films for me.
Okay.
Because Robert Townsend in the 5 Heartbeats purposefully filmed that movie backwards.
Yes.
So that the actors could grow their hair in real time so that when they're younger and should have more hair,
Right.
it's not a wig.
Right.
It's their hair. So ever since then, when I watch some black period films, the hair choices become very distracting.
Wow.
And Terrence Howard, Here Now and Going the Next Scene, Widow's Peak, just kept bothering me in this film. Plus the flyaway sideburns.
I was about to say Bernie Mac's
And
here was amazing. Like, I feel like Bernie, like I meant to check, was this before or after Soul Men? Because I feel like he talked to Samuel Jackson and Samuel Jackson, oh yeah, just do the craziest thing you can think of with your hair. They'll make it up and glue it on your head, because his hair was crazy.
It was insane. It was insane. And maybe the best part of this movie is when all of the swim team cuts their hair. I was like, oh, thank God.
And you know the tell that they know that the hair is real shaky? They have this, so there's a moment in the film where of course they go through the transition where they have to become a real team. And when they go to their first meet, they have on like cutoffs and you know, and this, that, and the other. And you know, of course, at one point, Coach Jimmy says you have to wear regulation uniform and swim trunks and little itty bitty Speedos. Yeah. You know, they're going to learn a lesson, and then they show up in the Speedos and they play the triumphant music, and it's the horn flourish, and you show them and they have on their Speedos, but they've also cut their hair, but no one mentions it.
Yes.
Like, it's not mentioned at all that all of them got a haircut, because we're not going to really talk about hair. So that's what I noticed, that they didn't even mention the hair.
I loved it. I said, oh, now I can watch.
But then Bernie Mac walked in.
Well,
these weird lamb chop things on his cheeks.
Well, to be fair, Bernie Mac has always had a weird thing going on top.
There's like a lot going on, yeah.
A lot of things going on with Bernie Mac in this film. But yeah, so
that was a distraction.
It was a little. I found it a little distracting.
Okay,
a little distracting, but overall, I mean, like you said, you know the beats. You know what it is.
It's a cute film. It's again, like you said, I think it's a great film for kids, and it's such a great Philly film. You know, and
well, okay,
no.
Say that, yeah.
The fact that Jim Ellis is still alive.
So it's a Philly story.
It's a great Philly story.
Okay. Yeah, because it's not a good Philly film, because it's not.
The skyline is my telltale.
Yes.
Of if it's really a Philly movie or not.
This was not. Not at all.
Yeah.
Don't be fooled by the.
Oh, you two are adorable. See, you know what you're supposed to do now? Like, now y'all have to be the most stereotypical Philly film critics of all. I need both of y'all to start foaming at the mouth talking about the Rocky run doesn't make sense. The path he runs in Rocky. Like, I need to, like, can you talk about that for a second? Like, he's in Italian market. Now he's on the steps. Now can you talk about that? I love when Philly people get angry about Rocky's run.
Shut up.
Oh, it's my favorite thing. Yeah, and then Rocky ran through the city. Don't you like that when Rocky ran through the city? And then I just sit back and let y'all go.
Where are you from?
Baltimore.
Oh.
All day.
Okay.
See? Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Isn't that neat how Rocky was in the Italian market and then he was on the steps and gonna fly now, right? Wasn't that great? Isn't that great in Rocky? Isn't that great? How Rocky is running through the city? Isn't that great?
It is great. It's great.
Can y'all take me on that tour? Like, I want to go the exact path that Rocky goes on when he does the run. Isn't that great?
Trenae.
Yes.
The skyline. I looked at the skyline and oh boy.
Those weren't Philly homes.
They were not.
We're not. There's no homes in Philly like that, which really bothered me.
I liked how wide the street is that Rocky runs down in Italian market.
Trenae.
Isn't that a great? Isn't it wonderful how you can just drive down 9th and it's so wide and ample parking? Did y'all like that? Did y'all like that part of Rocky?
Oh my gosh. You guys are too funny. Too funny.
Trenae, would you recommend that people watch Pride from 2007?
Yes, but don't, I guess, based off this conversation, you can't hype it too much, but yeah, watch it.
It's a good family film.
Yeah. Learn a little Philly history.
Yeah. Look up Mark Foster, who the rec center is named after. Has a Philly connection there as well.
Yep. Yeah, and learn more about Coach Jimmy.
There you go. What about you, Vincent? Would you recommend Pride?
I would. I like Pride. Like, I'm glad you wanted to watch Pride.
Okay.
Because, I think Pride is a film that kind of gets lost. Like, even with you and I doing this, like, every time I see Pride on TNT or TBS, I think, oh, yeah, it's Pride. And then I think of something sexier or, quote unquote, more interesting.
Well, it got lost in the wake of when it came out I think it came out not long after or before Akeelah and the Bee. And that kind of like stole its thunder.
Right. Which, you can absolutely see why.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, sure. I like Pride. And you?
No, I can't recommend Pride. I do think it's a fine family film. So if you're looking for something to put on just for TV for the whole family, Pride. But if you're sitting there and you've got Akeelah and the Bee and Pride, I'm saying Akeelah and the Bee.
Oh, agree.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's a nice film. And there was also something about the tone of it that did strike me, did feel a little bit like made for TV a little bit. So because of that, I can't recommend Pride. If you watch it, fine. But it won't be on my recommendation. Listen to Vincent and Trenae. They know of what they speak.
Go ahead and recommend Pride.
No, I got to be true. I got to be true to...
Nothing
Is it because of the hair?
That's enough.
in the skyline?
And the skyline.
Is it because it's got
And the houses.
And I was about to say in the house.
Not enough room.
No.
I mean, you're doing the job for me.
No.
But no, I honestly, as I was watching the film, I was enjoying it, but I wasn't enjoying it enough that I could say, like, hey, should I watch Pride? I gotta be honest. I gotta keep it real. Like, no, I can't recommend it. But
I think I'm reading this comment from Lisa. I feel like Philly needs better stories. I feel like Philly, based off this whole conversation that we had, has stereotypical stories. And maybe are you used to that? And that's why you don't recommend it too?
You just want me to recommend this movie. Sure. Watch Pride.
There you go.
There you go. I'm recommending it.
Okay.
I'm recommending it. It's the only way we can get booked for City Cast Philly. No. Vincent, do you want to come on City Cast? No. Watch Pride. It's a fun family film. Watch it. There you go. All right.
All right.
Happy?
Yeah, I'm happy.
Okay. All right. But before you watch Pride, wherever you get podcasts, listen to City Cast Philly so you can tell Trenae Nuri.
Thank you.
Give her a shout out. Show her some love.
Thank you for joining us.
I appreciate. Thank you for the laughs and also educating me on some stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
We'll take that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, our job is done. And thank you so much. We really appreciated this.
Absolutely.
You have to come back, select
I
another.
got homework to do. That's for sure.
Hey, come in with like your favorite like fun black action movie.
Ooh, okay.
Guns and fast
With guns and fast cars.
Guns and fast cars.
Guns and fast cars. There you go. All right. Before we tell you what we're going to be doing next week on the Micheaux Mission, I invite you to send us all of your feedback. You can email us at micheauxmission@gmail.com. That's MICHEAUXMISSION@gmail.com. If you like the Micheaux Mission, hey, find us wherever you find podcasts, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora. If they've got podcasts, they've got the Micheaux Mission, they've got City Cast Philly. Like and subscribe, hit the bell, and give us both 5-star ratings. That helps people find our show. You can also watch the Micheaux Mission every Tuesday live streaming from YUNKJunk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace, to YouTube, where you can hit the bell, subscribe, and be notified of when we go live, when we put up our shorts, when we put up our clips. We have a lot of videos going up there on YouTube. Spread the word. Tell a friend. We want to build up our subscribers. We're a fledgling YouTube channel, so help us build. Please, why don't you? The Micheaux Mission is also a proud member of The Podglomerate, thepodglomerate.com. They make podcasts work, such as ours, who will be off next week. That's right. No show next week. We will be on vacation. Vincent will be chilling, and I will be relaxing on a beach, having a good time eating some pig off of a pit. It's going to be lovely in Jamaica. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
I'll be in Philly.
As will I.
But when we return, November 26th, not 26th, it'll be November 26th. November 26th, just in time for Thanksgiving, the Micheaux Mission and the Missionaries will be giving very special thanks to our YouTube producer, Dylan.
Yes.
And reviewing a film that you just do not know. He inundates us with requests for, and we are finally going to be reviewing Osmosis Jones.
Another good family film.
Oh, it's a hoot. It is a hoot.
But so bizarre.
Yes, strange is really the word.
It is, but it's so funny. It's so good. It is so good. And it is one of Dylan's childhood favorites, and we will be reviewing it in thanks for all his hard work on the Micheaux Mission on November 26th when we return here to YUNKJunk. Until then, this is Trenae, that's Vincent, and I'm Len, and in parting we say,
we'll see you when it's time to meet again.
YUNKJunk!